NNKH Miscellaneous Junk Channel. Got a little wheelbarrow comparison video. Kind of just stopping by a few stores, going to see what they have to offer in this 2025 season, because I need a wheelbarrow. And I went on Marketplace. People are asking like $50, $100 on beat up old ones. I'm like, maybe it's better off to just go buy new. So for $79, we have a 5.5 cubic foot Project Source, which is made in Mexico. And this one for me, off the list, because I don't like the shallow ones. Like a nice deep barrow. Barrel. Some people call them a barrel, right? You got the steel handles on here. These feel like pretty sturdy. As far as cross bracing, pretty skimpy cross bracing, and the plastic shims. Not a fan of these, especially when they're really thin like that one, because they crack over time. You can see these are stored outside, so they are starting to rust. Not a big deal, but these with the metal they use these days, it seems to rust a lot quicker. And these are formed and then painted afterwards, so underneath that crimp it's just bare steel, and they'll start rusting in there. And that goes for the steel tub too. I'm a fan of steel tubs over plastic. We'll talk about those in a second. Some guys like the plastic, but you know, you're gonna see rust streaking out. Now we do have flat free tire. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought that was flat free just at first glance. That's an air tire, and I actually like air tires more. They're just better for higher loads. You guys know the flat frees are great, but as soon as you put a big load, they just bite into the ground a lot more, and you can't roll. Now see what else with this crimp on the steel, it captures all the debris, and then they start prematurely rusting. Let's see if that has a drain hole. Oh, it does, yep. There's a little drain hole there on the bottom, drilled in. So next on the list is the Kobalt 6 cubic foot high density poly. Now this is pretty darn thick, but my experience with these is storing them outdoors. They just get dry, rotted over time, and will break. Much heavier duty shim on this one though, that plastic also, but much stronger. Way better cross bracing, very important with the big loads. And then you have little foot extensions too, so these can wear out. Instead of on this, you're gonna wear through these and then have to weld some metal on the bottom. They should all have an additional plate like that, so you have nice footing. And that one is $119. I just looked it up online. Past that, you're gonna have the dual wheel 7 cubic foot for $159.99. By the way, these are also all made in Mexico and the same exact style, but I don't like dual wheels at all. Just not my thing. Now over at Home Depot, checking out what they got. This one's $79.99. It's a Anvil poly wheelbarrow, 5 cubic foot. And again, that's out because it's small and it's poly. For me anyway, you guys might be different. Over here we got a pneumatic Anvil 6 cubic foot for $100. And that's not bad. You got the wood handles with plastic skimpy shims. Sorry if I just don't like plastic all the time, but I'm getting used to it now. Now wood is okay if you got tight grain like that, but you see if you get once it sits out in the weather, I mean, if it just depends on the wood you get. Some might last a really long time, but you can see this one, this is probably last year's model, but it's not gonna last. And we got a Husky 6 cubic foot with flat free tires, steel. Let's see, so these legs I kind of like this. They got a little extra meat welded on instead of bolted. Bolting on's better, I guess, right? But and these do not have the crimped over edge, so you're not dealing with that rust coming out of those. Decent cross bracing, steel handle, a shim, plastic shim, real skimpy looking plastic shim actually. Not a big fan. Oh, for $139 we got the True Temper 6 cubic foot with the yellow steel handles. That makes it look a little bit more high performance, right? This is probably last year's model, so that's what you can expect it to look like. Also, doesn't have the crimped over edges on these, but they're all going to start rusting in there. So if you don't like rust, go with a poly like this $139 Husky 6 cubic foot with the flat free tires. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the dual wheel. Dual wheels are out for me. Now the Jackson, everybody knows the Jackson, but I was turned off on this because while it does have really high quality wood handles, I mean those look like premium grade, and it has wood shims, which is great. Those are going to last forever basically. I don't like the wheels on this one, and this is made in China. I feel like I remember these being made in USA, good old Jackson, but that's pretty sturdy. You know what's more sturdy is this Gorilla I noticed next to it for $149. This is a 6 cubic foot pro heavy duty, and this actually, it feels sturdier. It's got a little reinforcement rib there too, and it has a wider stance they're advertising, so less likely to tip over. You get some plastic handles in there too for when you're emptying it out. This is feeling really heavy duty. We have a dual wheel on the end, so that's out for me, but I'm trying to talk real quick because we get the background music, so I'll probably get copyright on this. So on this Jackson, look at this little wheel. Now it is a pneumatic, which I like, because if you try the two side by side, like on this True Temper, flat free's nice, but if you put big load in this, you're just digging into the ground. And plus, if you park this with a load for any substantial time, it'll get a flat spot and then you get all bouncy. If you guys haven't experienced that, mark my words, that can happen if you park with a load, right? And you leave it on the ground. What I'm really liking on this Gorilla is check out the front tire. Much beefier than the Jackson. It's about the same height, looks like a 16, but a little wider. And they're both pneumatic. This one, you have a modern axle. Look at this. Pull the pin, and well, this has probably been sitting outside for a little bit, but then it has a slide out axle. So I dig it. I'm sold. I'm gonna try one of these out. And as far as shims go, this does have plastic, but those look pretty strong. I'm sold on it. I'm gonna purchase it. Pro grade steel. Gorilla, sold exclusively at Home Depot apparently. I don't know if I mentioned, but yes, this is also made in China. And you'll definitely want to go through and tighten all your bolts. I found 3 of them that were just completely left loose, which leads me to believe that the store employees are probably building these. They don't make sense. They come in a box and you gotta put them together. Well, check for that, tighten all the hardware, and then pull this axle. The reason the axle wouldn't come out is because these weren't clocked right, so I had to loosen each one, then it slid right in and out. But I definitely want to grease this so that way it comes out with ease in the future when hopefully I don't have to repair any tires. And this does not have ball bearings or anything, so yeah, you definitely want to keep that lubricated and greased and back together. Let's look at the run out on it. And hey, if you don't like a pneumatic tire, just think you could always just get a flat 3 and put a spare tire holder underneath on your wheelbarrow. How about that? And then you have the quick change and swap it out. Because yeah, if you get a nail, as much as I love pneumatic tires and they're so much better, if you get a nail flat, then it's a bummer. Another feature on this, I don't know if I showed you, is that the top is flat. So you know, most wheelbarrows like this Ace is going to be pointed. So if you're pouring liquids out of there or something and you want to get a fine stream, I guess you might want that. But this is better because, oh yeah, it balances itself. You can't even push it over. So that's kind of nice. I like it. Excited to put it to work. Now, the Ace has its place too. This is a much lighter duty. And with the wood handles, you do get more shock absorption because there's a lot of give there. But if you go overloading this thing, I mean, it has its limitations. I already bent these legs once. I had a bunch sitting in there, and then it went folded over on itself. I had to bend them back, and I mean, you can see just rocking it back and forth. Like, that's fully tightened down too. Any wheelbarrow you get, you got to tighten it all. In fact, yearly, I'd say. Because once they get sloppy, that's when they fall apart. It's either about the same width. That's 25.5, and this guy's 25.25. But if you go down to the stance, you're only 17.5 wide on the legs in the Ace and 24 wide on that. Look at that fat stance. Woo! Anyway, that's about all I got to say. You know, Lowe's or Home Depot, definitely Home Depot. Gorilla for the win. Thing's a beast for $149. I like it. Thanks for tuning in.